Australia is increasingly becoming the home of fintech startups. That's basically financial technology. But this week we saw the launch of an American startup in Australia called Acorns. And the idea behind Acorns is basically you connect it to a debit card and it'll take tiny slivers of each of your transactions, so 50 cents, and actually invest it in different portfolios, and you can toggle between which of the different portfolios you would like your money invested in. But is it all it's cracked up to be? That's where our panel comes in. Our panel this week includes Liz Lee from the tech website Startup Daily and John O'Seidler, who is a digital strategist at the advertising agency M&C Saatchi. Is Acorns any good?
There's such a misconception where you have to be 30 or 40 to start really investing in things, and students just are kind of left out of this whole investing society. And I think it's really great to start looking at fractionalizing interest and ways that you can just invest $5 into a stock or into a share and be like, you know what, I can be 18 and I can start investing and I can start being interested in where my money goes.
It's very sexy. It's very up to date. Everything works. All the bells and whistles are there. Obviously, they've got those steps in there so you're not a fake person or you're not linking to a bank account. You have to kind of be cleared.
Although when you were setting up your account, it did think you were a fake person, didn't it?
Well, it did, because I forgot my own bank details 3 times, which will show my technological savvy. But yeah, I think it's all there. And I think once you get past those hurdles, which is, I mean, still a lot less, we have that thing where we're like, oh, it's a bit complicated. But in terms of like going down to a bank and doing something like this, it would be a real pain in the ass. So I think actually it's kind of all right. I think the issue for a lot of people who are young particularly is that they don't know where to put their money anymore. Interest rates are terrible. If you're not investing in property, like there's not a lot of safe places to actually get a good return on your investment. So this is an interesting way of getting into that game and making you feel like you can actually incrementally make money and kind of pat yourself on the back while you're doing it, and it tracks it in real time and you can see it happening.
As you pick up an app like this, what would your concerns be? What are the things that you weren't so sold on?
I just want more information. I think there should be a space on the app to provide you that information on how to invest, how to manage your risks. You know, if you put this money there, what can potentially happen to it? There could be like cool fun ways for students, like a blogging site or short little videos or something like that.
Do you feel like you got enough information about exactly where your money is being invested in?
There's a long PDS which I was reading while I could get into the app. And they kind of, exclude themselves from all responsibility, blah, blah, blah. But then they do mention, of course, that they've got like a Nobel Prize winning economist who came up with this great theory, and he has advised the, Acorns or whatever, right? But I think the big thing is that you have that direct relationship. So if you obviously invest in shares, you have a broker, you get financial advisors. And I think there's a big problem, particularly with banks at the moment, where there's been a few scandals regarding financial advisors and where they're putting your money and if they have vested interests. And none of that is apparent when you're looking at a really sweet, well-designed app. And I think the other thing is that, I mean, we've got films coming out left, right, and center about how people are taking your money and going to town on it, particularly at the high end of town. It's like, this could be a massive, I'm sure it's not, but if in 5 years this was a massive Ponzi scheme or something where we all kind of realized that they took our money and had a laugh with it, it was right there in front of us, but nobody asked the question. I think the better the interface, it actually stops you from asking those questions, and people go for ease and convenience rather than the tough stuff that normally comes with signing contracts.
I would use it as a learning and educational app, and because you're only dealing with small amounts of money anyway, hey, if I lose $5, $20, 50 cents here, whatever, I'm not investing thousands of dollars into something I really don't know about, and it's very automatic, so you can kind of just put in your settings on how much you want to invest, and then you can kind of just forget about it for a while and then come back and see how it's going. But it's not for the long-term investment. That's not what it's aimed for. It's aimed for short-term investment.
Are there other apps and services operating this space doing similar things with kind of microfinance that are potentially better or more interesting?
Yeah, there's an Australian startup called First Step, and it's essentially kind of doing the same thing. It's very new out into the market as well. It doesn't have the same kind of traction as Acorns, and it's really looking at the fractionalized interest and micro investing. And I guess now it's kind of a bit of a bummer for them that Acorns has started up in Australia, because they're going to have to really try and push themselves into that market and get people on board. There was released a FinTech 100 report, and we had 2 big global players, established fintech companies in Australia, and we had 7 emerging fintechs in Australia. Sydney is known as a fintech hub. We're really trying to reach out to the markets in Asia and the US. And I think it's really great because now we're seeing US companies like Acorn come to Australia because our banks are so secure.
I just think that they've lost an opportunity here to really socialize the idea of saving. This is a problem that a lot of young people have, particularly given the housing market and everything else. And there's a real thing here where it's like you're on your smartphone already. You know, you're kind of using the same app technically as thousands of other young people. You could use that data, you could connect people, you could get people to invest together, people could work towards common goals. I just think it's a wasted opportunity.
All right, there is a lot more to this on the audio edition of Download This Show, which you can find right now on the RN website. Thanks, guys.